to stay on for us, just because sometimes the heat and humidity likes to mess with the devices a little bit. So, Leanne, was it?
Yeah.
This one's going to go to you. So within your party, just so you guys know, feel free to intermingle your devices. So I know you just said it. Gosh darn it! I wanted that camera. Let's get into the accompanying item that goes along with that. So, sucks because somebody just turned on the car lights. This is the neuralizer from Men in Black. None of you are going to remember anything that's going to happen tonight. So, see, jokes. Lasers. So, good thing you shut off his car lights. So the whole point of this is that through the camera that I just handed to Leanne, you can actually see them like a Christmas tree, and you won't be able to see the lasers till something actually passes through it. So the whole point here is that we're looking for motion that's going to pass through these lasers, things that should not be there. So the other piece that we're going to be using with this is going to be the red grid. The red grid, in the event we capture something here, I can put it in 3D software and give you the full 3D view of what we caught along with measurements. So again, I've had this guy for about a year. The software hasn't been able to take anything just yet because the pictures have been slightly too blurry. So again, hopefully tonight is going to be our night. So because you guys are probably going to intermingle, Quinn, was it?
Yes.
Look at me getting names down. Lasers, stay on the ground whenever you're using them. This one, actually, see where my index finger is? Yep. That's where the button is. So you have to hold it to be able to keep it on. Make sure the laser is always touching the tip of your shoe. We want to keep lasers in control because there is a laser law in Charleston. This one has a light switch on it. Once it's on, it's on. So be careful not to move it around too much and make sure you turn it off before you get relaxed with it. Fair? I would tell you when lasers are going to be safe. So the two of you will be working together, just so you know. She's like, I don't want to work with him. That's crazy.
Yeah, just so it's pointing down now.
Yeah, just to make sure you have it in control.
Keep it coming.
Spirit boxes.
I hope I can do
So we're going to be using several different types of spirit boxes tonight. What the heck are spirit boxes? These are ways for us to communicate with the dead. So we're going to be using several different styles. This one in particular is kind of like the one you guys see on TV. It's basically the white noise that they give you, and then your host will tell you what he thinks he heard in the middle of the screen. Yeah, we're going to be doing that in real time, only with a little bit of a different method. Because listening to white noise for 2 hours, plus the history I'm going to give you, somebody's going to fall asleep. Like, that's just how this goes. So, with that said, these are slowed down, allowing the radio chatter to come through. So, Marcus, when you're listening to this guy, I'm expecting you to hear radio, DJs, song lyrics, commercials. I want to know what you hear out of those type of things. If you hear "Welcome to Charleston," I want to know that you heard "Welcome to Charleston" out of a commercial. So again, it's a 50-50 shot. We can tie it to the location of where we are, a person in history we're discussing, or something going on with one of you guys. It happens all the time. Now the cool thing is that Marcus is going to be the only one to hear this because he's going to have an earbud in. So tomorrow morning, y'all are going to get the recording back from this, and I'm going to spot check it. Whatever he hears in real time, I'll be writing down on my little notebook, so that way they go in your notes. I will also spot check it and give you about 15 to 20 more items of things that I find when I'm going through this recording. So it's already recording right now. So the only thing you need to worry about is, first off, earwax is gross. You get to keep these. I don't want them back. So your volume button is right here. It's a wheel. So again, I'm going to make sure it's turned all the way down so you don't get blasted in the ear, but you'll have to undo the twist tie to the earbuds. That one goes to you.
Should I put this in my pocket or just carry it?
I would carry it. Most people carry it.
Burn out your eyes.
You're like, when did I have mine?
Rob, I'm going to give this next one to you.
Okay.
It does the same thing, only it's not recording. Because if I give you guys 4 hours of white noise and radio chatter, you guys are all going to hunt me down and kill me. Like, what the hell did you do? So I'm going to be relying on you and whatever you hear in real time, so that way I can write it down. So again, your earwax is also gross, and your volume button is right here, and it's already sweeping through the radio stations.
Okay.
No, there's nothing.
So you're going to tell me when to put it in my ear too, right? Or am I listening all the time?
Most of the time. So I would go ahead and undo the twist tie and pop an earbud in and get used to the volume as
Gotcha.
we're kind of going through the rest of these devices.
So I shouldn't be hearing something right now, correct?
Unless you turn the volume all the way down. The volume is at the top, remember?
I didn't touch it as well.
Don't hit the button, it's the wheel.
Yep. Oh, there we go. Now I hear it.
He put one of these.
This next spirit box, we don't actually have to listen to anything. That's the cool thing about it. So on your TV shows, they would normally call this an obelisk. This one actually has 36,000 terms and phrases in it. It is a phone app, is what I'm going to tell you, and this phone app is going to actually save all the terms and phrases from our entire time together with timestamps. In the event something pops up relevant from this timestamp list, It helps me go through the recordings, through the spirit box recording, that kind of mentality. However, this being a phone app, 80% of what comes out of this thing is going to be garbage. So Kelly, as you're kind of watching this thing throughout the night, I'm going to come to you from time to time and say, where are we at with the list? I don't want to see every word that pops up. I want to see them in kind of a bulk. Otherwise, we're going to be out here till like 4 in the morning because it's going to spit out a lot. So again, 80% is going to be garbage. All you got to really do is pay attention to what words are popping up, and to get to the list is the little white box next to the word. To get back to your main screen is the top right button. 2 simple buttons for you. Let's see. I know which one I need to do. So, Mitzi, you're getting our newest spirit box.
Ooh.
The newest spirit box works a lot differently than the rest of them. It's going to sweep through both FM and AM radio stations simultaneously and attempt to take out the white noise that Marcus and Rob are actually listening to. So, it's only going to give you about 10 to 12 terms total through the entire night together. The reason I'm giving you this one is because it doesn't use an earbud.
Okay.
However, and it also doesn't record, but Matthew's video camera, like, it actually records audio. So if obviously the two of you are working together and you miss something, it'll pick up on the regular audio, so you can check on it later. The only thing you need to worry about is how to hold it. I'm also doing this because you have a cup in your hand, so I'm making things nice and simple. So the blinking lights is the top. On your right hand side, when you're looking at the face of it, there's a mute button. It's the only button there, and I have it on mute right now just until we get past the ponies, because we will be near horses very soon and they don't like the white noise.
It's like a video game.
Hey, we're going to keep things nice and simple for you. So you guys have all seen these on your TV shows, right? So this is a K2 electromagnetic field meter. It's going to measure anything electronic. So your phone, wiring, parking meters. I use this one to debunk a lot of things, meaning it's something man-made and not a ghost. All you need to do with this, guys, let me know what colors you see. It's already on. You don't need to hit any buttons. The second thing you're going to do, because this is actually going to be kind of fun for you, is you're going to take hundreds and hundreds of pictures for us. So this is a digital camera, and I'll be honest, I normally don't hand this to people under 20 because they don't know what the hell it is. I don't know how old you are, but again, I'm guessing. At this point, there's no flash on this. So any picture you take, try to be as still as possible, because the reason why there's no flash is I don't want any false positives. If there was a flash, it would be giving me glares off of cars and all kinds of mess, and we don't need all that. I will lighten up pictures that are too dark, but literally take hundreds and hundreds of pictures. Have fun with it. In the event that it actually shuts off, your shoot button is the biggest button on the way to the right. The power button's right next to it. So you are double fisted. So I'm going to keep your mind busy.
Nice. Shoot button. Yep, just the big button.
Is it John?
Yes.
Oh, man, look at me.
Well done.
Yeah,
So
nice.
you're my multitasker because you haven't said a word besides your own name. So we got to get you talking. So last but not least, this is what we call a millimeter. This millimeter has 3 different functions to it. So it's going to have a electromagnetic field meter in it, just like Peyton's. So hers actually is, like I said, to debunk. Yours is a little bit more accurate. So your big numbers, anything above 2.5 is what I want to know. We're going to debunk things first. We're going to see how high it'll go, so forth and so on. The bottom number is ambient temperature. In the event Matthew finds something on his camera, you and I can find out if it's an actual cold spot or something from a man-made object using this probe right here at the top. The last thing it has is it has a motion sensor. Anything that's close to the antenna that I just pulled out, it's going to go off. I'm not touching it right now. I'm touching it now. So again, anything gets close to you, it will kind of trigger different colors and all kinds of things. And you and I are going to talk about that at the first location we'll use it. So that's 2 stops from now, just so you know. For now, get used to the numbers and how they move around. And you guys are all set. All right. Everybody's all geared up.
Sorry, can you please repeat? Am I pressing something? How does this work with what Quinn has? You had said that they would work together.
They do work
advise
together.
us? Okay.
Yeah, so our next spot is when I do that demo. So that way you guys are going to do the demo, not me.
Okay.
You got it.
Sounds good.
All right, you guys got really quiet, so this must have got really serious for a lot of you. So, like, holy cow, this is definitely not a ghost tour.
We're trying to make sure we do this right.
So you're kind of on a Ghost Hunting 101 crash course. Just kind of look at it that way, because we are going to be talking a lot about different types of supernatural things that go on in Charleston. All right, so you guys are going to make me talk all night, so I'm going to take a quick drink, and then we're going to talk about why we start here. Kind of give you the gist of why we get started at a weird street corner.
I just think it's cool.
I thought you were looking at the windows.
Well, I am, but I can still.
I guess.
Watching us.
since you already did that, let me kind of make things very, very clear. 3 cameras are working right now. People do not like their cars to be filmed. Actually, all 3 of you are right here. They don't like their cars to be filmed or pictures taken of, and people don't like to be filmed themselves. We will be in spaces where there may be parked vehicles or people's apartment buildings. I will always kind of give you that clue and a heads up, always. But again, if somebody's going to their vehicle when we're in one of these weird spaces, I will do like a Andy's coming. You'll point your camera towards the ground, and obviously you have a cell phone, so you'll hold it just like you are now, and of course you'll stop taking pictures. So again, people just don't, they get a little weirded out. And especially if I was a car thief, Matthew's camera would be my first choice, because I know exactly how long those cars have been sitting there based on their heat signature. Yes, I know. I study this stuff way too hard. So let's talk about why we started here. Big John. Here. So, Big John's, this place used to be owned by a football player. His name was Big John Kennedy. He named it after himself. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. Now, whenever I'm giving you the history or anything about the location of where we are, I will always slow down on the specific keywords that I commonly hear around that specific location. For example, the keywords here would be 47, New York, Giants, anything relatable to a bar, and the name John. So, here's why the place is haunted. John used to sit in the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys came in, they're not old enough to drink. So he had the bartender throw them out, and they leave pretty angry. They come back the next night, and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on, he slams down his beer, probably spilled it everywhere, and he goes over and just starts pounding on these guys, just beating the heck out of them. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets grazed in the neck, but the bullet lands behind him in the wall. John gets up, after being the only one that's been shot, by the way, and he goes back to the bar, tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor, an ambulance. Now, normally if I tell you that a building is haunted, you automatically think of some tragic death that occurred here. What's haunting this place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. Even if the new renovation of Big John's filled it in, Big John's blood is still inside this building. However, the reason why I bring all of this up is because people that sit in the front of this bar where that bullet hole is or used to be have a tendency to get a headache, nausea, or dizziness. Fingers crossed we're going to be dealing with paranormal activity tonight, because that's why you guys are all here. However, if anybody feels any of those symptoms tonight, I'll need to know immediately so we can move the whole group and get that person to safety, and we will always blame the heat and humidity first. Again, not everything is going to be paranormal that happens on our tour, just so everybody kind of has it. And now we have a mom staring at me like, what did we sign up for? So, we're going to be fine, but I have to put out that warning because things have happened in the past. So, I have to put it out there. So, let's get our mind off of our own health, because Leanne's like, we're going to bail. Big earthquake here in 1886. Did you guys know that from other history tours?
Yes.
All right, so, well, there was a big earthquake here. Now you know.
Yeah.
And it's weird because we're supposed to have hurricanes, not earthquakes.
Yeah.
Now, this building behind me, Big John's, is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The white mantle you see in the middle of the building also wraps around the front. A piece of the front of it broke off, hit somebody in the back of the head, and killed them, and apparently you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street. I said apparently and allegedly a lot with that because I have no proof. It's just a great segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour, even though I just brought it up again. So, is everybody ready to go ghost hunting and have some fun?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Let's get Peyton to lighten up a little bit. We got this. We're gonna go this way. Get everybody huddled around here. So, welcome to the Big Red Barn Lot, everybody. So we're not going to spend a lot of time here. We're just going to talk more about your devices and give you a quick history of why we stop here. And I kind of created this stop so that way we could talk about your devices a little bit further and answer those questions that are probably all rolling around in your heads. This is where we keep the horses, well, some of them anyway, for your carriage rides. You guys can probably smell them. I can't. I'm out here 7 nights a week. So again, I'm immune to it. The history here is really simple. This is the same red barn that held horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. So, keywords here are going to be delivery, milk, and eggs. Kind of keep that in mind. Let's talk about spirit boxes first, because we do have quite a few of them in play tonight. Actually, 5 out of my 6 are out. So, this is not a Ouija board, and this is definitely not television. So everybody kind of has that idea. What's the first question everybody wants to ask a communication device? What do you think to a ghost?
Are you there?
Are you there? Right?
Yeah.
So if you hear the answer of no, that means somebody's here. So again, we are not going to be asking yes and no questions all night long. So that's the whole point. And again, that is the question I was looking for because it is that common. So we're going after the proof and the details. Even if you are a skeptic or a cynic about paranormal anything, you're still here to have fun and you're still a little bit curious, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So when I'm teaching people how to use spirit boxes, I normally tell them to ask a question they already know the answer to. For example, if somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Obviously, we're looking and listening for the color red because Kelly has a word list, she doesn't have to listen. So obviously that's the color we're looking for. But the rest of you are using song lyrics and DJs to be able to convey messages back to us. So the color red might not be available to that DJ or song lyric to be able to answer directly, but fire truck, blood, heart, those three things are specifically red. I would take that as an acceptable answer because it was direct. What color's the big red barn? Blood. I'm good with that. However, most of the night I'm going to require that there's at least two happenings to verify what's actually going on to be able to label it as paranormal. Another example. Let's say Kelly's word list has the word art on it. That doesn't mean anything by itself. Rob here's the number 40. You put them together, and Art Faircloth was number 40 for Big John's team. Now we might have something going on. You guys see where we're going to be putting all of these clues together throughout the entire night? And by the way, just for reference, so because the two of you are still staring at me like, what did we do? What I told you back there is literally the scariest thing I'm going to tell you all night long. So again, have some fun with this. It's all about history. So again, you guys get the gist now on your spirit boxes, and again, you will be hearing all of those radio DJs and song lyrics coming through, so that's what you're listening for. Disembodied voices that they actually show you on TV, they're very rare and hard to come by. I only capture about 4 to 5 of them a year, and they're trying to give you 12 in one episode.
Yeah.
So again, take that for what it's worth. Let's talk about cameras. So Matthew, we're going to talk about yours first. You're still recording, yes?
I don't think so. I think
No,
I accidentally tapped something.
It's okay, but you're in control of the machine, so you can just tap it again and you'll be good to go. So you're going to try to do two things for us. Even though I told you not to record people walking by, you are going to try to keep one of us in view all night long. We're going to be the warmest thing out here, just like that joke I made at the beginning. So the reason why I say that is because it's much easier to capture cold spots when there's obviously a much difference in temperature. So there's going to be an array of color on that screen. Otherwise, things are just going to turn orange, and that's no fun. The other thing you're going to try to do is keep the sky out of view if you can. It's going to be impossible in some areas. The reason why for that is the blue dot. The blue dot will default to the sky looking for a surface and always label that as the coldest area because there's no surface on the sky unless it's getting the moon, which is very, very odd. So again, always keep the camera to your left, people in, sky out. Those are your basic 3 rules. And as far as your device, so Leanne, right?
Yes.
Look at me getting names. I'm good. And Peyton.
No.
No. Peyton Quinn.
Yes.
Damn it. Knew I was going to get these two mixed up. All right, shine one of your lasers down for me, buddy. I'm going to raise it up just a little bit more. Perfect. Yeah, get comfortable with it. Just hold it like you would normally like your cell phone. All right, so in a nutshell, you're going to be filming through the laser. That's why I'm saying go ahead and raise it up a little bit so that way we actually have a little bit more of a grid. So you don't want to keep your camera pointed down at it because we already know what the squares look like. So you're literally going to be like 2 to 4 feet away from him, moving slowly like around it to be able to capture something actually moving through the laser. Because again, you can't see it until something goes through it. So that's the whole point of it. If you're going to use them together, you don't want to cross the streams. So bad Ghostbusters joke that nobody chuckled at. Nice. So, crossing the streams basically creates one grid and it's pointless. Keep them side by side. So again, it's almost easier to kind of like put your elbows, at an L, so that way you're holding it down. Oh, there you go. You got it now. Now we got a little bit of airspace. Now, always keep them on the ground, of course, unless I direct you otherwise. And again, if you guys want to swap things up in your party of 4, obviously with yours, you're both going to be using it because you can visually see his and he can obviously audibly hear yours. And then the 3 of you, if you want to mix yours up as well, by all means do so. And I say keep it within your party because everything gets sanitized twice a day. So again, I've always done that even before COVID. Imagine that. All right, is everybody ready to go ghost hunting? Because I think the only person I need to work with is John, and we're going to do that at the next stop.
Yes.
All right, first off, did we get any colors on your little blinky?
Not that I know.
And any numbers come out of yours, John?
Nope.
All right, let's go learn much deeper history than football players and ponies. Let's get away from that.
So I'm just said we stick them
You
out.
just said,
Yeah,
yeah.
circle it. But he said don't go.
You literally just record.
Just circle it. Yeah, but he said don't point it down. That's why I was like,
Well, no, just not down on the ground. Like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, I got a color.
Tell him.
color.
Yellow.
Peyton got a color.
What color do you have?
Yellow.
I have a 5-0.
You went all the way to red?
Just went to red.
15 to 25.
Nick, there was a 5.0 right back.
And we just got colors over here. Remember, these two devices are measuring the same thing, just with two different styles of device. So you get a 5.0 and about a 10 to 25, which is its max. So it's actually a good thing. We'll have to see what's coming up on the spirit boxes. I want to see the word list once we get to the next space. Come over here for a second, because I do want to take a look at that word list. Miss Kelly, bring it on over here.
Yeah.
So go ahead and bring up the list, just so I can kind of see what you got going on. Big Thomas, that's good. Okay, this is the only one so far, and we're about to go to a mansion, so there's the word manor on there. We're going to see how that works out. All right, that's good. Good. So we're off to a good start.
We'll see. Yes.
Hear like background.
Does he only get to know when he tells them?
What's
or
that?
when we stop? Like, how does when does
Yeah.
Quinn tell them done?
That's when we kind of get to a specific
Yeah, but I'm unclear
When
when
you
he
get
said
to an
take a
area.
whole bunch when in an area.
Oh, I have green.
It's green is normal.
Green is normal.
Yeah, green is what I think it's called. It's yellow again.
It's changing. You guys speak up, Peyton. Color
You
change.
got another yellow.
Yeah, I got a 3.5 right back there.
3.5?
We're being followed. One of the stays here in Charleston.
Oh, you got another color. It's blue. I'm kidding.
You got red and blue lights over here.
Shoot.
Well, that's off to a good start, and we already have a name to a person that is actually attached to this space anyway. So let's circle around this way. That way you're staring at the minutes. Yeah, that's gonna suck for you guys. So
There we go. That's a little better.
those words actually pop up the same way that the spirit boxes are working. It is scanning through radio stations, and whatever it recognizes out of its 36,000 word dictionary is what it's providing you in the word list. It's a 20% chance with your device. That's the idea. So these spirit boxes, the way I have them all set up, is basically based off of how this one is operating. So again, with all of these terms and phrases coming through, it's a 20% chance that pops up because yours is hearing a whole lot more. Now, him listening to this guy, it's very difficult to do. That's why it's a 50-50 shot. He's not going to hear as much of what's going to come up on this guy. He's not going to give me the 75 to 85 terms and phrases tonight. He's only going to give me probably 20 to 30 based on what he hears. Again, it's a 50-50 shot. But with the amount that comes out of this one, it's a 20% chance. And we're going to see, like some of these spirit boxes, as I'm kind of bouncing around with everybody, you might have a term, but something relevant to that particular person that we just talked about, Thomas, I didn't tell you anything about him yet, is going to pop up somewhere else. Because it happens all the time. And it's a matter of like, okay, Thomas is going to be here tonight, then we're going to see clues wrapped around Thomas, specific numbers, specific things he did, people he married. Those kind of things will all be very, very specific. That's why we don't go after yes or no answers. Does that make more sense now? Okay. All right. So, welcome to your first parking lot, everybody. Congratulations, you made it. So, I told you I'm taking you to weird spaces. What is this place? This used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney mansion. So, their mansion actually sat in the front of this lot, obviously facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there and came all the way across. And then the servant and slave quarters were in the back of this space. I always like to give you the layout of the land, just so you know what we're actually working with here. So, spirit boxes, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, just like you guys know, like what we did over there with the red barn. I will withhold information on purpose. I'm doing that so you guys all have a genuine experience with your spirit boxes. Now, obviously, Kelly had no idea that there was somebody named Thomas that's going to be attached to this location. So I felt like something just tapped my shoulder.
I just saw a bug.
Oh, okay. I was going to say something just tapped me. I was going to strap on my bag. So who knows? Maybe the bugs are attached to me today. We'll find out. And we have it on film. So both of you are recording me right now, which is awesome. So it's a weird word. I don't think I've ever seen that on there. So, where was I? Oh, where are we? Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses, in case you lost track. See why we look for the secondary verifiers now? We need to know which Chuck we're chatting with.
Yeah.
So again, we need a very specific clue attached to that. So with that said, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a pretty big deal for us, but I hate politics more than all of you. So we're going to actually talk about Eliza. She has a much cooler history anyway. So, Eliza, she married Charles at a young age, according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. So, when I say that, because some of you may be asking later on how old she was when she got married, I'm not going to give you that answer. Hopefully your spirit boxes will. But I break them up to 22. It went up to 22. So she just told us her age that she was when she got married. Like, directly. Like, she was 22 years old when she got married. 22 and 30.2. Holy cow.
Setting up 20.
21 and what?
22.
So let me stop here. I'm going to explain what all these numbers mean, just so, because you guys are all looking at me like, what are you measuring? What is going on here? So basically, I usually wait for these high numbers, but the fact that it's going to perceive the story is very interesting. I normally tell you guys afterwards, because we don't normally have numbers this early, at least that high. So this is basically measuring electrical fields. So basically think of your cell phone putting out a pulse. Your cell phone's going to put out anywhere between a 5 to a 10 milligauss pulse. So again, kind of think of it that way. Your TV set has a bunch of wires behind it. If you set John's device behind your TV, you'll get about a 40 to 60 milligauss. So again, that's how much electricity is in the air behind your TV. Your microwave running on high and you're standing next to it with that device is about 150 milligauss, average, 150 to 170. The highest reading I've ever seen out of that device has come out of this space. Out of all of my investigations that I've ever done, it was a 214 milligauss.
Wow.
Obviously in an area where there's no electricity. Those are dangerous levels. So again, for a guy with seizures and epilepsy, we got out of here. Like, I wrapped it up and we moved on. Like, again, that was kind of a, all right, I need to go for my safety at that point. So the fact that you're giving me a 22 and a 30, as soon as I mentioned how, like, she was at a young age and you heard 22, that is her exact age. So again, I'm not going to say that that was an answer, like she gave it to us, but it is very uncanny that he gave us the exact number the minute I mentioned her age at marriage. So again, very interesting indeed. The reason I was bringing up her age, by the way, was because her husband, Charles, was over double her age. So again, kind of keep that in mind, because you still at least have one question to ask of how old her husband was when they got married. She married her husband because her father over in England thought he was dying, and he wanted to bring all of his kids home. He wanted to see him one last time. Eliza didn't believe he was dying. Instead, she got married. It's 1744. You don't get married in 1744 for a green card, because she is from England. You get married out of love, because we're not even a country yet. You can't even get a green card. And with that said, she was right. Her dad did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England to this space. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least an hour that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere, I promise you. So when she got these, well, basically what that is, for those of you that don't know, it's a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. So again, I'm staring at all of your pants to see who has it on, to see who's going to be our candidate, and nobody's wearing blue jeans today. So maybe Peyton. I think she's got denim on. Yes. So we have one winner. There's usually one. But anyway, she didn't know what to do with these seeds when she got them. So she learned from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot here, by the way. So once she figured it out, she moves it to another plantation south of here, but calls her father in England and says, rice plantations are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with this indigo. And now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. Again, you got to see me during Women's History Month. I'm a big hit, just so you know. We're going to talk about women all night long. Now, you're all here for the weird stuff. That's Eliza's business. Let's kind of go right down the line with the spirit boxes and kind of show you how this is actually going to work. In the event that you kind of get a little numb to the questions that you're asking, by all means, you can ask anything you want to. I'm just going to give each spirit box a set of questions, so that way they have something to focus on. Is that fair? All right, let's get into the weird stuff. So, Kelly, we're going to start with yours. Your device, sorry, those blinking lights with me and my seizures are a little much. So just kind of, if you can stand still.
I will.
Eliza was the second wife named Eliza, back to back, 5 months apart. First wife Eliza passes away in January of 1744. He marries the one we just talked about in May of 1744. Ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. Ask what the maiden name is and see which Eliza we're actually dealing with. The other question you can ask is how old Charles was when the second wife Eliza married him. So maybe you can get that answer now that we know that the answer is 22 as far as her age. So those are going to be your focal point questions. Into the device, focus on it, speak it out loud, do whatever's comfortable for you. So everybody has their own way. I'm not going to say this is the only way to do it because we're paranormal, right? It's a matter of always testing. Rob, I want you to focus on the children. I want you to ask how many children there were. I already told you there's at least one, Charles, right? There's more. Ask how many, what their names are. Leave it alone. I will give you a clue. We already have one of them on her word list. The name is Thomas. So again, now you know two of them. Find out what the other two are. The only thing I'm going to ask is don't poke the bear on this one because there's a tragedy among those other two children that you don't know of yet. And if we poke the bear, all activity will stop, including John's readings going on over here. So just don't poke the bear. Keep it nice and simple. Next spirit box. Mitzi. The mansion's not here anymore. Ask what happened to it and when did that happen. Because your device only gives us 10 to 12 terms total, we're going to hope we get at least 2 good solid answers out of it. It actually gave us the answer last night, so I was very, very pleased with that. So again, very interesting, at least of what happened to it. Obviously, it's a tragedy of some sort. So where's my next spirit box? And then we have one more. Marcus. Aha, see, I got to get names right. It took me a minute. We're going to go after Eliza's death with yours. How old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Lots of questions for you. Those of you with the 2 spirit boxes with the earbuds, feel free to share that other earbud with another person to help you. That's perfectly fine and okay. Now, we are in a space where there's probably about 7 or 8 cars. We do not go in between vehicles. We don't film vehicles for too long. You just keep moving as far as video cameras. And you basically need to be following Miss Peyton and Mr. John. But I'm going to steal John for a few minutes so I can show him how to use that motion sensor. We're going to stay in this space for about 10 minutes based on the evidence that's already coming through. I'm very, very happy about the 22 and 30 that's already come through and the name Thomas. Again, first clues that are actually popping up. Let's see what else we can capture, get those spirit boxes loud.
What should this one be doing?
You're going to hit the mute button on the right, and you're going to be listening in. And this is a safe space for lasers, so the 2 of you will be working together as well. So nice slow movements with your lasers, looking for motion that's going to be passing through it. I'll be honest, with your particular setup, it's not always an in-the-moment find. It's usually found the next day during the media review. So the slower the movements you 2 have, the easier it's going to be. And obviously you can switch if he really wants to use that camera.
Should I do both at the same time?
Your call, man. It's your ghost hunt. I'm just here to lead. Show you how this works. All right, let's do this. John, you're going to stay back with me so I can show everybody. Everybody else, let's
So I
spread
take
it.
pictures of everything.
Everything. Lots of laser pics. That'll help you just in case you miss something on the camera.
It's good at me.
So I do want to escalate this. So right now, it's just anything above 20. Normally, I would say somebody will come with me and say, I got a 2.5. That's above 2.5 that you asked for. And I'm like, well, I don't want to write down extraordinary numbers. Give me everything
Quinn.
above
Oh,
I got
2.5.
But I'm just going like around you.
Yeah,
Like I don't see the grid.
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
Okay.
The whole point is if something goes over it, you will see the grid. Because I'm pretty sure what the point of this is. Because the thing he has doesn't pick up this type of light at all.
That's why we use this.
That's what he said.
This is legit. This is what's going on. Let's talk about your motion sensor. Pull up your antenna on the motion sensor. Turn the device around so you can actually see the back. There's a little flap. You're going to lift this up. There's going to be 2 buttons underneath it. You'll have to pull it up with the flap.
Okay, I think you're too close.
You're supposed to be able to.
Look at into this. With it going off, there's a way to reset it so hopefully it's even false positives. On the right hand side, right here. Yeah, so it's going to be right with your fingers on it. There's 4 buttons. The front and the bottom button. Right? So if you're going from there, always have it at the ready every time it goes off. Click it and always, reset. Get back to it as well. So that was coming from the
Remember, he said the slower the movements are.
I'm not moving fast. Since he's here. Are you like looking at the ground?
No. Am I supposed to?
You should be looking at this. If you want, then we haven't done that.
Looking at what?
Like, you look
I thought he said don't point it at the ground.
Point it straight at the ground and look at my stuff. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Oh, look at this? Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
So you're supposed to be looking at. Or you can just ask him.
Give us a clue on one of the kids' names. Kind of heard the letter A. Any other clues you could give us?
Maybe let's try some different spots in the lot.
Stay with the map.
It's disgusting. You're going too fast.
So, how's the laser work going? I know, not the most exciting, but watching that little tiny GoPro screen and lights.
And I'm following it.
And that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
So when we actually look through this thing, and I'll show you guys evidence, like as we kind of go through the night, it does capture a lot of orbs. So orbs are like basically a ball of energy. I think you used the term energy earlier tonight. And basically it loves to capture those because we can't see them. This is outside of a spectrum of our vision, so that's why we use this. And the reason why I like using it with the lasers is because obviously you can see the lasers much better than in real time, because these things aren't always caught in real time with the lasers. So I thought, what a perfect match.
Yeah.
So, what concerns do you guys actually have? Like this, it sounds like it was his idea to drag the whole family here. Am I right?
No, it was mine.
Was it really?
It was yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
I looked up the haunted just walking tours, and
Sure.
they sounded fun. And I heard from others who have done walking tours that they had a good time.
Oh,
but
yeah,
when
I
I
would've-
saw that this was interactive,
Yeah.
I had him in mind because I thought, okay, this is
Keep
right
him
up
busy.
like
Because in
their
just a
alley
lot.
when
to
we were
be
in
hands-on.
DC,
Yeah.
it was like, it wasn't even dark outside yet. And
Oh yeah.
it was just like talking for like the entire time.
Well, ghosts don't care if it's dark or not.
When we were
I'll
in
tell you that.
London, we felt it.
I just like
in a pub.
the mood.
Like we felt something there.
So
Never
when people
saw it,
tell me
but
things that they feel or they've been
Yeah.
touched or whatever, it's like I have no proof of that. That's why I love using all the electronics, because if it's on video, it's on video.
yeah.
You know, because things will happen. Fingers crossed that we can't explain, and that's the whole point. I can't explain everything that's going to happen. I just like to give all the evidence back to you, so you guys
Yeah.
get the gist of, wow, this guy just gave me
That's
10 hours
fun.
worth of video and audio to listen
Yeah.
to. So, but yeah, this work is not always the most intriguing, but it is a matter of like you're going to be able to watch the video the next day and go, holy cow, look at the orb he found, or look at the motion that came through the laser. You know,
That's
so
great.
and that'll obviously bring more people in. So
I have a friend who sees dead people, for lack of better words. I mean, like when her uncle passed away, her cousin, she would see them in the house, and she would sense a lot. She would sense a lot of
And
things.
most of
and
my
she's
friends
been
are.
when she looked. They even went house shopping. She walked in a particular house and is like, "We have to go."
Yeah,
The
can't stay
hair
here.
standing up on my arms, like, nope, can't live here.
Most of my circle of friends are psychics and mediums, so you don't
That's
have to.
interesting.
I mean, you have to look at my line of work.
Yeah, yeah.
But I will tell you that most psychics and mediums don't make it through my tours. Like, they don't get past this site. You
Yeah,
just saw all the high
experience too
EMF.
much.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot going on here.
Yeah.
They're just not always very active to chat with us. So, again, it's different every night. I never know what's going to happen. So,
Cool
all right, I'm gonna
experience.
do one more quick
All right.
round robin, and then I'll pull it
All
all
right.
together.
Got this last spot over here. And then over here. No? Let me make sure to stay on. This is not going to pull me. Come on. That's a good spot over here.
How's it going?
Fine.
On the fork. No.
Maybe it's too late. Come back here.
What? 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 Did you see something?
No, I'm sure I didn't.
What?
Let's go out by here.
Just stay on. I'm gonna go middle. You haven't helped my favorite.
Let's go by these people. See if they're picking up activity. Let's go.
And you don't have like your phone or anything here right now?
No. Well, I guess it was the camera.
The camera would have to be touching it. The camera's pretty weak. Mitzi and Matthew, why don't you guys come on over?
Right.
Grab them. Guys, hang out here. Sure.
What happened?
Just ask a question. She just had actually right here a bunch of reds on her thing.
Well, he said it's boring until he sees the footage.
Yeah,
That's what
he
we'll
said.
see,
So
orbs
usually
or
on
shadows
yours,
that
yeah.
go across.
You'll see it more on the recording.
She thought she
No.
saw something over there.
No, I don't think so.
Well,
He
what did you
just said
see?
that our eyes. I think it picked up the reflection of something white on the
No,
ground.
people
You never know. I don't think you're able to see.
No, I was asking about the names and how many kids, and I heard.
I don't know, but my ringer's off, and it freaked me out because all of a sudden my leg
buzzing.
vibrated, and I was like, "She's
They're reaching,
here!
They're making
She's
contact.
Did you
All right,
Just
for
looking
those
at
of you with
questions.
video cameras, go ahead and stop them. So Mitzi, that would be your orange square, and then your
Where's
stop and
the-
start is going to be the button on the all the way to the right. It's a circle.
Okay.
So you should stop. Probably gonna do it better than me because you have a better grip on it. Nope, still doesn't want to stop. Maybe there's some work.
just-
Eric.
No.
I'm looking at the blinking light.
Yeah, I'll
Still
tell.
going.
Hold on, I think. No.
So it's just weird that I seen another tour down here. I like to come here because the other places don't come here. So just weird to see another tour group kind of walking through. Everybody's a little strong. Let's go a little further down. All right, this will work.
Wait, are we allowed to use lasers?
We can use lasers. However, if you're going to use lasers, you're going to stand against that wall and shoot them here.
Okay.
And then you're going to be shooting those lasers like in the middle of them, so that way we can actually see if anything's going to happen in between the space of the lasers. So who has the lasers now? So if you want to go against that wall and pick one to shoot at the wall, you can. But then you're going to actually stand right where Peyton is, and you're going to shoot your camera going this way. You got it. Perfect. So go ahead and fire one of your lasers up.
Make sure it's the right way, Mom.
I didn't try turning on it. You got it. Where am I turning it on?
Press the button like that.
Sorry, I just
Yeah,
didn't
you
see
have to
the
hold
button.
that button on.
You have to hold that one down, and that one's a switch.
So basically what we're doing with this, guys, is we're waiting for anything to kind of happen through this laser, and of course when this is I'm talking and keeping all of your attention, we have it on film. So that's the whole point. So where are we? When we crossed that last crosswalk coming down East Bay Street, we actually crossed over where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. You're standing on one of the first streets we ever had. Oh, that little breeze coming from home. Really nice. I don't know where it's coming from. But maybe I should move over here every night. Normally I'm like right against that little scene. But the reason why I asked for names is because I have the full list of residents of every single person that's ever lived down here. That's not a lengthy list, so don't be super impressed. The two names I commonly hear down here are Benjamin and John. Now, they sound like very common names, but when I say people live down here, I'm only talking like 2 to 5 people at a time. Benjamin and John both lived down here in 1801. To make sure we have the right person, John likes to give us his last name. There were 4 different Johns that lived here in a 60-year time frame. John's last name was Johnson. John Johnson was his full name, and we will get the full name and the name Ben or Benjamin in the same evening. That happens about every 6 to 7 weeks. Again, I know that seems like a weird time span, but I've been doing this work for 3 years, literally coming through here every single night for 3 years, except for the pandemic. You can kind of see that. So I can kind of see where the pattern is. Here's where things get weird. We're dealing with the stone tape theory. You're standing on Belgian blocks. These bricks have been here since 1739. The stone tape theory states that any stone natural from Earth has been in the same space for a long period of time can hang on to the memories of the things that actually occurred in that space. I think we're dealing with the stone tape theory because these bricks are made of granite. They are not supposed to have any electrical charge to them whatsoever. Even when you break them, like a quartz, and you get a little bit of a charge that will give us an EMF reading, we're not supposed to have anything coming out of granite. John, place your device on the ground and let us know if you have any numbers above 1.1. The reason I say 1.1, I expect that because it's natural from the Earth. We are within that 6 to 7 week loop that I normally capture of Benjamin and John. We did capture Ben's name here, I think it was 2 nights ago now. Any numbers? 8. And 8. Holy cow. So we captured a 5 here last night, and my whole group was stoked. So you have an 8. The highest I've ever seen it go is 15.7. There's nothing here underneath this crown to make that device go off. Again, it's dealing with the bricks. At this point, I almost want to test it further and say pick another brick in any other space and see if we can get something from it. Just kind of keep it within, I don't know.
Oh, it's a roach.
Doesn't really matter to me. So you had an 8.
Oh.
Holy cow. Now what do you have?
That's a roach.
1-1?
I'm surprised it's not roaches.
So 1-1 is natural. So, wow. Interesting.
I'm gonna kill it.
So, as far as the names go, if anything pops up, like obviously we have the name Christopher that showed up on the word list. If another clue about Christopher actually pops up, I'll obviously give you the list so that way you guys can see it for yourself. The other interesting thing about this alley is where it gets its name from. Before people lived here, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge down here, hence the name Lodge Alley. So we will get terms relative to the Freemasons, including the word Illuminati. First off, you guys are listening to radio stations. Who the hell is saying Illuminati on the radio? Is my first question. Second, why do I only hear it when we're in this space? Again, it's one of those pieces I can't make up. 6 times last year, verified. 3 times so far this year, verified. Again, somebody heard it here on the way into the alley, and I verified it on the recording. These are things I can't make up. So, again, very weird space indeed. Let's go ahead and kill your laser, so that way your figure can take a little bit of a break. The next laser we're going to go
The
to
red
Canvas
one's
is just
easier.
a quick stop.
I
We
think
are
some-
going to go up to another alley. However, I can't take you all the way through it. Why? I've been kicked out. So you guys have all the blinky lights and all the lasers and that kind of thing, and it is considered residential at the end. And I'll explain why I got voted out of there, because that's the fun part of the story. Yeah, again, it is. But again, you're going to see other tours going down there about halfway. It's not fair for my 10 people to try to investigate a space this wide with 20 to 60 other people down it. However, I still tell the story outside of it, because we're going to stir some things up over there and hopefully gain some activity through the rest of our evening from that space, because they're going to be relatively close to it for the rest of the evening. So as we go through the alley, we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood. So those of you with cameras, you'll cut your video as we exit the alley. I'll kind of place you guys once we get near that alley again, because again, with those other tours coming through, they didn't pay to get filmed. You guys did. So we're going to be very discreet about our filming down the alley. We're going to get some footage anyway. So Leanne's like, are we sure about this? He's sneaking around now. Sorry, I keep teasing you, but again, this is a very weird space. I'm stoked about the 8. I'm stoked about Christopher, because I do want to say there's a Christopher on that list, but until I have something else to verify, I'm not going to call it evidence. So again, we'll take it for what it's worth. So Marcus, have you heard anything? You've been kind of listening this whole time. No? Alright, fair enough. And you guys have anything else on yours? I know, those things are not easy to listen to, are they?
Yeah.
You guys signed up for a hard
Listening
job.
to you, listening to here, I'm like...
I know, that's why the in-between times, and when I say, let's spread apart a little bit, that's usually the best time. Do you have anything on yours? Were you listening along the way, by the way? You could have buttoned
No, I don't even know.
Oh, he's got all kinds of message buttons hit now. That's alright, I'll fix it along the way. You're good. You were perfectly fine.
What did you do? What
Maybe he tapped a bunch of buttons by accident. Which, it happens. There's a bunch of buttons on the front.
I'm gonna have to take this one.
Alright. There you go. Listen in. Find some words. You got anything else on there?
Here we go.
Got a 5 on there too?
Yeah, 3.5.
I'll take a 3.5.
Yeah, that thing was disgusting.
It's hard to walk on.
Yeah.
How do you turn this thing off? Dude, wow. Dude, why would you? I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to turn this off, but I won't turn it off.
You have to touch that.
I'm touching the
No, I
button.
did too. I had to do it with my nail.
You can kind of fit along this wall here. Alright, did you get anything on there? Now that you got it running properly?
Not really.
Okay, go ahead and hit the mute button for us. That's the button on the right if she didn't show you. Alright, did anybody else hear anything? Any spirit boxes along the way? Nothing? You got one now? Okay, that's okay. I like when you guys move stuff around. It's a good sign you guys are having fun. You want to try something new. So, well, I guess those of you with cameras, I want you to try to capture some footage of the alley behind me. So, again, with that, be very, very discreet, because again, people will be walking down there. If you want to point your camera down there, I will get out of your way. But again, you almost want to have yours at the side window, so that way we're not looking like vloggers out here. You can keep it recording, but we want to try to shoot the alley behind us to see if any orbs are going to actually pass by. So, where the heck are we? We are looking at Philadelphia Alley. This used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. So, we all tell the story of one specific duel. However, I tell the story a little bit differently because you're ghost hunting. You need a little bit more of detail than what the campfire ghost stories will tell you. So, let's get into this. A doctor moved down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents, and she has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. Well, the attorney thinks that the doctor is after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. So Dr. Ladd moves to Charleston. On his way into town, a coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. It was not a very good start to his day in Charleston. Somebody was walking by. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop on Ralph because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. So RI will show up here quite a bit. We just need to know which clue, secondary verifier, so we know which character it actually belongs to. So again, Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. Those are the two main things, RI. But he says, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's got a gunman inside. He's going to try to kill you. I got a place that you can stay at 59 Church Street with some friends. They'll rent you a room. You'll be safe and good to go. The doctor takes him up on this offer, and the two become friends. The longer the doctor stays down here, the more his practice takes off. He's making a lot more money now. He's doing pretty well. Amanda's moving down soon. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Now, every haunted city any of you will ever visit in the future will have a cliched whistling ghost. I can guarantee it. We all have one. I have proof. Let's get into the rest of the story. So him and Ralph go see plays together, but they cannot sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. It's just how it goes. They talk about these plays on the way home. They go see Richard III from Shakespeare one night, and they're arguing over the new actress. The doctor thought she was fantastic. Ralph, not so much. It gets even more heated when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It gets really ugly and they go their separate ways. Ralph is from here. He goes to his friends at the newspaper and he puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a jerk move. The doctor sees the ad of what a disgrace he actually is, and he rebuttals with, let's go to Ghoul's Alley. We're going to settle this. So they come down, they take their 10 paces, they turn, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to this fight, which is often what happens at a duel, by the way. It's not always a dead guy. However, Ralph has his one shot. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd doesn't die, but he drops to the ground, and Ralph proved his point that he's still pissed off. His friends pick him up. They carry him home to 59 Church Street, where the doctor dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. He probably tried to bleed this bullet out himself. So, the campfire ghost story part of this is that you can hear the whistles from the ghost as you're walking through the alley. Now, I will tell you if you're going to try this on your own without me, because I can't take you down there, I'm getting to that. But at the same token, turn on your voice recorders. Keep in mind, every local knows the story I just told you. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland is going to throw a whistle down the alley or Queen Street from the other side. I do it every single night when I'm done with you guys. If we're going to end there, my garage is there. I have to pass the alley. If my daughter's on the tour, it's kind of a little game we play. Who's going to throw the whistle first? But she doesn't realize how fast Dad talks, and I do it first. So I win every single time she's here. So, with that said, here's how I got booted out. I used to take my tours all the way down, and it would be no spirit boxes. We weren't using earbuds yet, so they were pretty loud. And it was about listening to your regular audio for the whistles. So, but I would also point out the bricks at the end of the alley, because this alley didn't always come all the way through, which means the bricks that I'm showing off are older than the ones that we have here on the Cumberland Street side. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint in one of those bricks and fingerprint swipes. I'm sure you guys have all realized by now, I am all about the history, and it was a matter of showing how far we've come. So no matter the diversity of my group, I feel like everybody needs to see those bricks because it is a sad moment. I treat those bricks the same way I do a grave. I'm not going to get any activity out of it because that kid's not staring at that damn brick in the afterlife. However, my groups of 10 always want to huddle around that brick and try to get some activity. November 26th of 2020 is exactly what happened. The whole group huddled around it, trying to get an EMF reading, listening to spirit boxes, and I'm trying to hustle them along, and it's outside a gentleman's dining room window of his beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. You see him standing there for night after night after night, and it was finally done. He come out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at, and we moved on. November 27th was Thanksgiving that year. I did not have a tour. I worked in retail for over 20 years, mainly for Walmart. You can understand why I took Thanksgiving off, and well, I still took Thanksgiving off. November 28th was the next day, Black Friday. I did have a tour that night, but I got a phone call from the tourism office asking me to go down halfway like everybody else or to reroute my tour. I decided it's not fair for you guys. You guys got that gist already. So I told my team, we're going to wing it. I don't even believe in this ghost story, but we're going to see what happens. Tickets were much cheaper back then, by the way, just saying. So, with that said, before we leave, somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box. I did not tell them we are going to be investigating the female pirate Anne Bonny. Again, I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate guy. So again, I was like, all right, maybe there might be something happening tonight. We get up there, somebody else hears the number 300 out of another spirit box. I don't know what that means until I do the research the next day. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So I keep taking you back there night after night in hopes that we're going to capture more. However, this is a hit or miss location. I will tell you, it's either we're going to have nothing, it's not even going to be reaching grabs, like we're going to stretch this. It's going to be nothing or a lot. So we're going to find, the best case scenario for you is if you're into pirates, I had to read a shit ton of books about pirates to be able to find like a lot of facts around lore. Everything I will tell you will be based off of at least 2 resources. So that's how I pieced it together because again, obviously I need factual data. So have you guys heard anything, seen anything before we move out of this space? Wow, you guys were super quiet. I
No.
was telling Kelly, you guys are like the most attentive, quiet group I've ever had. So, again, sometimes you don't know if that's creeping me out or like, but let's go learn about pirates. What do you think? You guys can continue recording if you want to, but we're going to be going up to that corner and we're going to pick our space and stay out of the way of the other tours because they will be passing by the same spot. It's funny that I seen that guy with that bright pink shirt earlier today, and I'm like, I bet you he's part of my group. So, and it's funny that I see him again tonight. We're going to be talking about that little building right over there with the crosses on it. First off, those are not crosses. Those are earthquake bolts. We talked about the big earthquake earlier. We haven't had one since, but earthquake bolts, if you're unfamiliar with them, are basically turnbuckles. So if we have another earthquake, which we haven't, like I said, you can turn those turnbuckles, and it's supposed to straighten the building back up again. It's a great theory, it just doesn't work. So the reason they're there is because I talk about them as it's the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston actually put in. And you guys have been seeing earthquake bolts all over town in the shape of lion heads and pineapples and all kinds of weird messes because it's just part of our Charleston charm. They put those there because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. We are here because Anne Bonny, that I mentioned that we're going to be investigating, is familiar with this building. It's the same time frame. This is like using a toy to attract a child ghost. It's the same type of principle. I call it a familiar. So, we talked about the walls earlier too when we were back at Lodge Alley. Do you guys remember that? So that garage right over there is where the wall stood. It went up Cumberland Street, past the powder magazine, and started going south towards the battery. That puts the powder magazine literally into the corner of the walls on purpose. Because if a pirate ship or Revolutionary warship tries to attack it from the water 3 blocks away, it's going to have a hard time making it this far, first off. If it does make it this far, the walls are 32 inches thick. It's protecting gunpowder. So it's going to have a hard time making it all the way through. We're going to pretend that it did, and it blows up the powder magazine. There's sand in the roof still there that was put there during its construction to go up with the explosion because it can't go up the 32-inch thick walls and then fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder to try to save some of it. It's a great idea as well, but that doesn't work either. So we know that's because another powder magazine blew up closer to the edge of the peninsula. This one's just never been attacked, even though it did serve in 7 different wars and 1 rebellion. The Civil War was its last servant, so kind of keep that in mind. Give you all that history again because I need to explain all that. This building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. But the story of Anne Bonny actually begins in the middle of its construction. Follow me, there's a lot of twists on this one. 1708, young lady moves here from Ireland. She's here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. Is everybody with me so far? I have to slow down on that because if I don't, you guys get all kinds of twisted up. Now, the 3 of them are running away from his wife. You guys got me on that one? She's pretty pissed off. That's basically the gist of it. So, they land in Georgetown, just north of here. Dad buys a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly. That means he has to send young Anne down here to Charlestown to be able to sell anything from the plantation to keep things afloat. Anne back home in Ireland was kind of a badass. They say she actually killed one of her servants when she was only 10 or 12 years old with a knife to the belly. Like, this chick is hardcore, so kind of keep that in the back of your brain as we go through the rest of her story. Fast forward. Building's done in 1713. Pirates are coming through town in 1715. Anne is stoked. She's about 16, 17 years old at this time. Don't ask me how I remember all these numbers, guys. It's just what I do. But at any rate, she falls in love. Guy number 1. Yes, I'm going to keep tally because there's a handful of them. Guy number 1 turns out to be James Bonny. You already see where this is going because we already mentioned her full name anyway. Now, Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate, so they run away to Jamaica, they get married. Anne Cormac becomes Anne Bonny, famous female pirate. However, James Bonny is not Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for, because every young lady during that time wanted a Jack Sparrow. So, this guy's a privateer. He's a spy. Howard. A spy for the British, no less. So, he's basically a traitor. This is not who she wants. She falls in love again a few years later. This is John Rackham, guy number 2. A.K.A. Calico Jack. This is the real person that they based your Captain Jack Sparrow character off of. So, this is the real guy. Calico, yeah, he's like, yeah, now this is getting interesting. I saw that. I got this. So, Calico Jack has his own ship, and Anne wants to be part of it, but you can't put a girl on a pirate cruise. Anybody know why? For bad luck. Right. So, he makes a deal with her. She's like, why do you know that? See, I'm sorry, man. I just got you in trouble. So he
Full of useful knowledge, yeah.
If you dress like a guy, you can be part of the crew. You just hide your gender. So she's okay with this because Dad used to hide her as a boy, like cross-dress her as a boy to hide her away from his wife back home in Ireland. She's okay. It's a man's world. She gets it. But she's going to be a female in his quarters. That's how things go. So let's put 2 and 2 together. We're all mostly adults here. 2 and 2 being a female in his quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. So before she starts the show, he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby over here, come back later, we'll figure it out. These are friends of mine, they'll help you. She goes and has the baby, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. No amount of research I've done can give me any speculation either. But the funny part about all this is that she's dressed like a female. This makes Jack pretty angry, which means the crew is going to know that there was a female on the pirate ship this whole time. There's another pirate crew down below deck that Calico Jack just captured, and Anne's going to go flirting to make Jack even more mad, because now they're fighting because she's dressed like this girl. We're on guy number 3, in case you guys lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females dressed like males on the same ship. Her name is Mary Reed. She was going by Mark Reed to become a pirate. So her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We're never going to know for certain, but the British find out where they are, and they send their entire fleet of ships to come down and take down this one lonely pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only 2 pirates that are not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks, probably because they don't know how to use the cannons yet, to fend off the British army. It's not going to work out. They're obviously going to get arrested. Now, as they're being arrested, she looks at her captain, Calico Jack, her beau, and says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up here often. Again, that is a direct quote from Anne Bonny herself. So, the judge, he wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly by themselves after he's tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunken pirates that wouldn't come up and fight. So, Anne and Mary go in front of the judge, they reveal their gender, they're trying to save themselves because they're ladies. He doesn't care that they're female, they're still pirates and he's still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies" was the last thing they said, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail and delays the hanging. Dad is still up here with all of his Charleston money and Irish money, because he was an attorney back home. He bails her out, brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, yes, we're going to count Mary Reed because we're not sure. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt ending. I see all the looks of shock all the way across. But as far as Mary Reed goes, she died a year later in 1721 from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. It's probably scurvious and bumpy and gross and whatever else you want to come up with. Now, you guys mainly know what you're doing by now, so I only left out 2 things to get all of the spirit boxes started. As far as laser work and everything else, you guys pretty much have a good grip on this. The 2 questions I left out are the names of Anne Bonny's parents, which is the father and the mistress. Again, I did that purposely so you have something to work with. I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship, so that's very interesting. So, Marcus, now that you have that device, don't expect numbers, expect colors. So, once you get that back up and running, I want you to ask what Anne Bonny's hair color is, and hopefully she will show you. It's very odd that you were getting the color red back at the Pinckney Mansion set, John, just because I have never seen the color red other than the fact of when I've asked Anne Bonny her hair color, and it is indeed red. So, again, it's just weird that you had red readings at the Pinckney Mansion site tonight. It's the second time I've ever seen it in a different spot, just so you know. Before I have you guys kind of spread out and show you what to do in this location, I'm going to keep you for 1 more minute because I'm going to tell you why I give that heated warning at the top of the tour. So, back in September when it's not so hot like this, because all of our faces are glistening right now because it's humid, I brought my team back here just like you're standing, and the kid next to me goes white as a ghost. I mean, literally about to drop to the pavement. I have to pick him up by his armpit in order for him not to hit his head. His boyfriend picks him up from the other side of him, and we get him over to that wall, which is where we're going to end, and we get him a bottle of water. He's feeling better. I then tell my group the story that you guys now know. They didn't know what was going on. I spread everybody out to go play with their devices for one last time, and they pull me aside and say, "Nick, we have to tell you, we are 2 transgender males," meaning I had 2 females dressed as males, just like Anne and Mary, on the tour. And it made complete sense to all of us why one of them felt faint the minute we entered the space. These are the uncanny things that I see pretty much on a regular basis. I did have a young lady get sick last night, but I'm going to blame that on the heat and humidity. So again, her and her family had to go. Again, it was one of those pieces where I can't say it was paranormal. It's crazy hot out here and humid. So as far as that's why I give that heated warning, because again, psychics and mediums don't normally make it through this tour. Just so you guys know, it's usually a little too much for them. Those of you with cameras, I encourage you to go to the front of the powder magazine so you can actually see it and get us all some footage. That means you exit the lot and make a left. The only thing I ask is that you don't interrupt the other tours. You can use lasers in the front lawn of the powder magazine if you'd like, poke them right through the grate, and with the cameras you can put them right up to the gate as well. But again, and the lasers are safe on this side as well. But with yours, Peyton, you're not going to expect colors on yours either. And again, the closer you guys get to those bushes, you're going to get numbers from your devices. It's coming from the parking meters and the electrical poles in the corners. So if you get anything past this halfway point on the back, super great. Closer to that, I'm not even going to bother with, because I know what those readings are. They're going to come up 3 to 7 milligauss on both ends. So everything else, it's fair game. Let's do this. Let's crank up those spirit boxes and let's see what we can capture. I'm going to go throw my bag on the wall and see what we got going on. I'm excited about dogs showing up. We don't
Taking
always
pictures
see it.
all through here, and then we can go to the magazine. You want to start up over there? So what, you're supposed to ask questions of the name of Calico Jack's ship?
Should I ask the name of their ship?
Yeah, and
Calico Jack ship.
Calico Jack.
and Bonnie's dad's name. I forget the other one.
And the name of his mistress.
And the name of his mistress. Her mom's name, or her dad's mistress name. You're supposed to take some pictures.
Okay. What are we doing?
Different. Something different. I found it like in. Move it around maybe.
Yeah, you're supposed to move it really slow.
Okay.
What other questions was I supposed to ask?
Mary Bonnie's dad's name and his mistress's name.
And his mistress's name?
Mm-hmm.
What is Mary Bonnie's dad's mistress's name?
Mm-hmm.
Mary Bonnie's dad.
Want to do the other one? We do them together?
You're supposed to be side by side, I think.
It's a ghost hunting tour.
Everybody's so quiet. Seriously, it's super interesting. Yeah.
Yes, a hands-on ghost hunting tour.
They actually
so.
like record the paranormal and like you hear it back. It's been interesting.
He goes through the stories, but you get to use some
You do,
devices
and
that,
things like pop up and the names of like people that he doesn't reveal in certain spots, and like
and we're looking for orbs.
it's interesting. It makes you wonder.
And you think you're crazy, don't you?
It's an adventure. Only in
She
Charleston.
has that look on her face like, yeah, I'm embarrassed.
Should we go back in the parking lot?
Sure.
Yeah.
I asked what the dad's name was, and they said the State Farm.
Well, maybe it's Jake from State Farm.
Maybe it's Jake.
Yeah.
Did
No,
you
no
ask
guy's
the
name.
name? Did you ask the name of Jack Calico's ship?
Yeah. What is the name of Jack Calico's ship? You want to pick?
Go away from us. Oh, you go from your car. What? You can sit again.
Where do you want to go? You said probably go like on that side. Let's just see if I can actually sit. Baxter killed me. It's kind of crazy to think that people hundreds of years ago built
Actually,
that.
he said we couldn't use it up here.
Yeah. Different kind of tour, huh?
What you guys do in Charleston? Went hunting for paranormal activity.
Hunting for ghosts. Kind of want to walk down that alley though before we go.
See if you hear a whistle.
No, just to be in an area where people were doing 100 years ago. It's just kind of crazy.
I mean, someone just died there.
Well, yeah, I would expect quite a few people.
Anything coming up on your lasers?
No.
And it's safe to use them at a little bit of a distance here as long as you don't hit the cars.
Sure.
Stay low.
Yeah, we've been
Can you
pointed
see the
away
red
from
one
everything.
even in this light on
Yep.
through your camera?
Yep.
And not just the dot?
Actually, I just see the dot.
I can see it. Like, it's so slight.
Yeah, the red one, I've actually emailed the company that makes it, and I was like, it can be a little bit stronger, and there is an upgrade to it, so, and again, I know it's not the most exciting thing, but the upgrade actually gives you like a little grid on the main face of it, so you can see where the anomaly is going to
Where
come
what?
through. It'll alert you, so I'm like, okay, time to upgrade.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the cool thing is I get to write everything
You can see it in
off.
darker spaces
Yeah,
a
right.
little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
So,
But
I'm
it was
actually gonna-
working better. Actually, I guess, yeah, it was a little light on the front,
That
too.
wordless is actually doing really well tonight. As I was telling the pirate story, she had ship, rock, bottle, and then John heard thieves and robbers,
Oh, really?
like on his spirit box. So we have a lot of like
That's cool.
piratey type shit going on.
Yeah.
It's just
Cool.
a matter of like, can we piece it together to
Yeah.
end?
Yeah.
Does it really tie together, right?
Yeah. So again, you
Cool.
can't make up that all of those
No.
piratey type
Yeah.
terms came up
Yeah.
Right?
as I'm talking about a female pirate. So I'm
Pretty
going
cool.
to check in one more time, but we're going to go end by that wall.
Sounds good.
I don't do good with follow-up stuff, though. Are we supposed to then?
I think he knows it sends something.
And just the response to that.
Yeah. You guys hear anything pirate related? Whistling?
I kept hearing
Any names?
before stuff related to money, but
Never know.
and I want to listen, bitch.
You're listening just fine.
You're listening. I did that
I
with
can't,
her before.
I can't hear anything.
I did it with,
I have
then
no
turn
clue.
the volume
Then
up.
go put
No,
it in.
I just
Just
can't
listen
hear
to it.
anything.
Shut up.
It's unnecessary.
Well, he's
Oh,
being
he's
unnecessarily.
complaining. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not.
I think you're out of one here just fine. You don't have to create a scenario.